Good morning and welcome to Morning Thoughts with Mama D. This morning's topic will be about fear and faith. Recently, I just had a conversation with a couple of young people, and we were discussing the comparisons of fear and our faith. And so I thought maybe I would expound upon it in my Mama D moments. So today is fear. And I'm going to read John chapter 14, verses 27 from the NIV version of the Bible that says, "Peace I leave you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your heart be troubled and do not be afraid. Peace I leave you, my peace I give you. I do not give it to you as the world gives." Right there is so much to grab onto. Why would someone feel that they need to leave you peace if they knew that your world would not have peace? So I hope that made sense. What I'm saying is Jesus is leaving us peace because he knows that this world is going to be chaotic, it's going to be confusing, it's going to be difficult, it's going to be manipulative, and there's going to be times where we will experience lack of peace. Because if we weren't, he wouldn't need to leave it. And not only does he leave it, he gives it to you. So to me, he's saying, not only that, I'm not just leaving it here. Because again, if you have a cup of coffee and I leave it on the table and I leave the room, the cup of coffee is still on the table. But if I give you something, that you could carry with you, that you could take everywhere, that you could go with you, that moves with you, that's not stationary to a particular place or time, then you would have that peace with you. And it's funny that he says, not as the world gives, but I give to you. So he already knows that there are things that the world will present itself that will be temporary. So for me, first thing in the morning, peace. My cup of coffee is my peace. If you want me to say good morning, give me my cup of coffee. No, I'm just kidding. You can give me Coke too. Coke does the same thing. But I digress. When we have the world's peace, peace from the world is temporary. People consider, band-aiding something or giving somebody something to pacify. Okay, when a baby's crying, sometimes the mom gives them a pacifier. That can be temporary because not all the times you don't necessarily know, or you didn't take the time to figure out why the baby was crying. So just giving them a pacifier is temporary. Don't get me wrong, moms. I'm not saying don't give your baby pacifiers. That's not what I'm saying. But when I'm showing an example of temporary peace. But if you knew, oh, wait, they're crying because they're hungry. They're crying because their diapers changed. They're crying because they're gassy. They're crying because for whatever. If you solve the problem, then that is a longer sense of peace. So they won't be crying for that long extended period of time because they're trying to let you know something is wrong. Sometimes when in our lives, when we don't have peace or when fear comes along and we let fear take over, we remove the peace. So because we're so focused on that which is causing us fear, we can't find peace. We can't find comfort. We can't find and we want to find it in things that are not necessary. Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe there are times where sitting in a space with infusers, I think that's what they're called, candles, sounds, certain sounds, because that causes your mind not to focus. Think about it. It causes your mind and your senses not to focus on that which you're fearful of, but on that which is causing you peace. like, you know, if you like the sound of being at the beach and you can't be at the beach, when there are times in your life when things are chaos and fear arises, if you can listen to that waves, it takes you back to that last emotion, because that's when you found peace. For me, I love candles. Candles can change my mood in a minute. And I'm not saying I use candles when I'm fearful. I use candles all the time because I'm a sensory person. So the smell of candles. Now, I can't do eucalyptus. I know eucalyptus. I'm allergic to it. That's why. And it just, so I have to be careful of what scents, but clean smells, powder smell, fresh smells, linen smells, you got me. Like, my whole mood changes. I can focus back on what I'm doing. There's some people, when they go for a drive, that brings them peace. There are certain things, because it takes our mind off of. So I know that some people be like, I don't want to go to the scripture and I don't want to read the scripture. I've been there. But all through the scripture, there is reference of fear. There is reference of God saying in Joshua 1:9, he says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. He wouldn't write it and he wouldn't say it if he knew it was going to happen. He knew there will be times in your life where you will be afraid. He knew in your life there would be times where you would choose fear over courage. He knew that you would get discouraged. He knew. So he left record for you to have words of encouragement. You know, we always talk about, oh, words of affirmation, words of encouragement. But do we ever think to look into the Bible for those words of affirmation? Because God gives them. God speaks them daily. And it's like, if excuse me for saying it, but, and I'm not negating her, but if Ivana Von Sant says something, it's like, oh, I got to believe it. But if God says something, I don't believe it. If someone says Mother Nature says something, or I'm going to be in tune with Mother Nature, you believe that over God? Because I have a question, and this is a serious question. Who is Mother Nature? I mean, I've seen cartoons, I've seen movies, like she's a tree, she's like the source of all nutrients and what? But we believe that, and I'm seriously asking, if you guys watch this YouTube and you send me some books, send me, who is Mother Nature? We say that this is someone who created or who nurtures the plants and the vegetations of this earth. But we can't believe that God does it. We can't believe that God created everything. We can't believe that God allows stuff to be in existence. But we can believe in Mother Nature. I'm just asking, for real. I'm not that type of person that just totally, I want to know who Mother Nature is, and why can we value Mother Nature, but we can't value and experience God. So I digress. I was talking about fear. So, and then also in Matthew 6:34, it says, therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Wait a minute. God said each day has enough trouble of its own. So he already knew there would be trouble. He already knew that you would feel the way you feel. He already knew there would be confusion and chaos in your life. He already knew, and he's telling you, take care of today. Deal with what you have to do today, because tomorrow, you that's going to be a whole nother can of worms. So let that be tomorrow. And people misinterpret that. God is not saying don't plan for your future. God is not saying that you can't look ahead to see, okay, if I'm here and I want to move there, what does it take to get there? That's not what he's saying. He's saying if you spend all day today in fear, if you spend all day today worry, if you spend all day today being anxious, what is that going to get you? Is that going to allow you to be productive? Is that allow you to be able to get things done today? No. That's going to stifle you. That's going to keep you burdened. That's going to keep you weighted down in that place, in that time, and you're not going to get anything done. So what he's saying is, worry about tomorrow. Whatever you got to do today, Whatever is scheduled for today, deal with it today. Whatever is on your plate at work, deal with it today. And in that, he says, and I'm using multiple scripture, he has already told her, be strong and courageous in Joshua. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Why would he tell you not to be that way if he knew that those times would come? And then he says, I leave you peace. I give you, it's like, okay, if you don't even understand that I leave it with you, I'm going to give it to you. So I'm going to make sure that it's yours. I'm personally allowing you to have this gift of peace. And, it's funny because, we do say, you say, may the peace of God be upon you. Why would you say that if you didn't know that there would be times when you would need some extra peace? Fear is emotion that we allow to come and take over and to cause confusion and discord in our life. We do not have to give fear power, but we don't have to deal with fear in a worldly view. You can deal with fear just as much with the faith that God is giving you. You don't have to minimize God to be a human in this world. You do not have to justify why you fear, because God knew fear would come. He knew fear would exist, but he also knew that peace would be there because he is giving you peace. He's also told you don't worry about it. He's also told you don't be discouraged. So I would encourage you today to bind fear in your life, to grab a hold of peace, to grab a hold of joy, and to grab a hold each day for that which God has for you, because each day is a day in itself, and that he knows exactly what he's doing. Because Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, and they're plans to prosper you and not to harm you. And if he says it, he means it, because my God will never lie, and his word will not come back void. So trust it. Trust it. And my last thing is, because I was about to just sign off, but why is it that we trust everyone and everything, but we don't trust God? Real life, real talk.